welcome to a new episode of the Wool & Twine Fiber Studio Knitting Podcast. My name is Jule and I'm the dye and maker behind Wool & Twine Fiber Studio, which is a small creative space located here in northern Germany where I play with botanical dyes and natural yarns. If it's your first time here, welcome to my little corner of the internet where I share everything about my knitting and in general my creative projects. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I'm so happy to have you here again. For those of you who don't know, I work with botanical dyes and natural yarns only. And in these podcasts, I'm trying to take you along my makings and what I'm up to. So I really hope that you will enjoy hanging out with me. So I can imagine this is going to be a long and chatty one, so feel free to grab yourself a beverage and maybe, hang out with me for a while. But without further ado, let me jump into starting the episode. So, I'm back here with a new knitting podcast episode, and I really hope you will like what I made for this time. But I also thought to include a little bit of a new format here. Let me know what you think of it, because I'm trying to also take you along what I do travel-wise. So I'm kind of not wanting to call it vlog, but I'm kind of trying to work my way through some more content that lets you get to know me a bit better. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, I'm trying my best to work around these kind of things. And since I was on the road for quite a bit this month, traveling to 2 different cities, I thought I would maybe try dabbling into recording a little bit while I'm there. So first of all, I should maybe tell you that I went to Cologne and Munich this month. Both were kind of knitting related trips, which made me realize how nice it is that this is actually my job and that I'm able to travel destinations with these kind of, travel somewhere because of my job. That's also my hobby. So meet like-minded people and all of these kind of things. It was very lovely. And so, I traveled to Cologne first to see the H&H craft fair. And for those of you who don't know, this is a huge fair. I think even the biggest in all of Europe. That is all about crafting and any kind of creative hobbies. And it takes place once a year in Cologne, and it's a huge fair. Like, it's not all about knitting, it's also about all kinds of creative stuff and sewing and tufting and crochet and all kinds of like creative things. So it's always a kind of fixed appointment in my calendar every year. Not because I see so many things that would be relevant for me business-wise, but because I meet a lot of people there. So for some reason, it seems to be a destination for very many people from the knitting community, especially in the European community. And so it's always super nice to meet a lot of people and catch up. And this year we were especially lucky because we jumped on a train traveling to Cologne, and I was working on the train to Cologne, and then we arrived around midday, and the weather was an absolute dream. It was super sunny, and it was the first day that we actually experienced like some proper warmth, and I don't know, it felt very lovely, and we really enjoyed strolling around the city and exploring it a little bit before all of the fair craziness kind of started. And that was actually really lovely. And I'll try to add a little bit of the footage that I recorded on that very sunny day for you to have a bit of a distraction from my rambles and maybe enjoy the beautiful footage of us walking by the river and enjoying the beautiful weather. So hope you'll enjoy. So then the second day we went to the fair, and it was just absolutely wonderful to meet so many of you and to catch up with so many friends. It was just wonderful. And while it was also overwhelming, as it always is, these kind of events can just be very tough. I was so happy, and I went to bed way too late, but with a very full heart. It was just wonderful. And yeah, thank you to everyone who said hi and to everyone I met. I'm not gonna do an extensive list of like tagging everyone here, but it was just wonderful to spend time with you. And these are actually the things, because running a business online is wonderful. First of all, it's wonderful, but it can sometimes be a little bit lonely, and having the option to meet all of y'all that I usually just chat with online, it's just very lovely. So thanks to everyone who said hi, thanks to everyone I met, and I came back incredibly inspired and can't wait to meet more of y'all very, very soon on my further travels. So far about Cologne. The fair itself can be a little bit draining because the venue lacks natural light completely, which for me is always a bit of a struggle, because I thrive under natural light. I can't handle these kind of situations very well. And I also don't think it's the best way to showcase textiles, but that might be personal. But yeah, I find these situations a little bit overwhelming, but it was interesting to see all of the yarns and what might be popular in the next season. And not that I necessarily care about and have any kind of idea about trends or anything. It was just really nice to stroll around and see what other brands might be doing and what the big brands might be doing. I don't know. I always find it interesting, and it gives a very good overview of the industry in a very short amount of time, which is also why I like to go there, and because sometimes it feels like with all of the natural botanical dyeing world, it feels like this is stuck in a bubble that does not really move with time. And while I really love this about it, that it's so timeless and it's so not stuck to any kind of hectic trends or anything, it can be quite nice to get a little bit of an input from the outside. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. For me, this kind of feels good to see where I'm going, where I want to place myself with my work and all of these things. So that was lovely. But yeah, I guess that was it about my Cologne trip. It was very inspiring and wonderful, and I can't wait to travel more in the next couple of weeks. There will be some destinations, so I can't wait to take you along that. And also let me know if you're interested in any kind of like vlogging style, me taking you along, or if that's not something you care about, because it would be very interesting for me. But I guess without further ado, let me start showing you some of my knitting projects. So for this episode, I decided to go with my work in progress first, because believe it or not, I technically have only one at the moment, but that's about to change soon. However, I want to share this first because it's only one, and I thought this section could be kept rather short. But as I mentioned in my latest episode, I needed a very simple travel project, and that one is again housed in one of my favorite Komebokuro bags that I got from Veronica of Danina Studio, all hand sewn, and very good for like a small project while it's still very small. At least this one, I have a bigger one, but this is my favorite for like on the go. And so I started my Sophie hood by Petite Knit, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I think it's very unusual that I have knitted so few patterns by her, because I feel like the world's going crazy about her. But this is my Sophie hood that I just find is a very practical accessory for the winter and also like transition times. And so I wanted to make it because I thought it's very travel friendly, and I have only managed to do this much on the train back from Munich, because on my train to Munich I was basically working all the time, so that's fine. But I just didn't have a lot of time to knit. But on the way back I managed to knit quite a bit more. So I did cast on for the last hour of my train to Munich though, and then made a little bit of progress. I am using my nurture yarn for this, and this is the porridge colorway. It's a light beige, and I'm holding it double on 5mm needles, and I kind of like the organic effect this gives. I really like this one. So yeah, this is my Sophie hood so far. Not much to show, I guess. I'm not going to show you my skein because I don't know what I did, but I kind of messed it up big time, and it's now really messy. But yeah, I only managed to do this much. It's not a whole lot yet, but yeah, it's very travel friendly indeed. Not necessarily super engaging at this point because, you know, you're pretty much just knitting back and forth, doing the I-cord, and then decreasing every now and then. So it's not that it kind of requires a ton of attention, but yeah. So far about this. It's quite fun to knit though, and well, not fun, but it's fun to see unfurl, and I really like the fabric. So yeah, that's definitely one thing I really enjoy about it. Like, it's very squishy and nice, so really like that fabric. So far about this one, but I guess I can show you, this is not really a work in progress, but my next project I can show a swatch maybe. So here we go. This is a new swatch of a new yarn that I'm currently working with and that I'm currently sampling for a future release. I'm not sure about the fabric if I should, because it's very loose right now. You can see that it's a little bit see-through, and I think I might go and do another one. Not another one. I might do another swatch in half a needle size lower, but this is a new yarn that I'm currently going to swatch, and it's very excited. It's a limited edition, and I'm very in love with, I don't know if you can see, but with the shine. So this shows it a bit better because it's currently very sunny, so you might be seeing through more than it actually does. But yeah, this is how it looks like, and how it's turning out. And this is about to probably become a home shirt jacket. Well, you will always know that I always forget the name. Hang on, let me just look up the name. Okay, so this is going to be turned into a home shirt jacket by, let me look up her name, I always mess it up, by Camry Cutler, who's Golden Hour Knitwear, I believe, on Instagram. And it's pretty cool. It's like, I'm going to insert some pictures so you can imagine. It's a kind of shirt jacket pattern that I think is very unique. I think a couple of years ago, Hayley Smedley of Rosetta released the Miles shirt jacket, and I was already interested in that. But the gauge was a bit too heavy for me, and I do prefer slightly less of a gauge, like less of a thick fabric, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is a DK weight now, and I don't know if you can see it well, but I'm going to try and maybe think about sampling this new yarn with the home shirt jacket. So let's see how that turns out. Let me know what you think down below. I might go down half a needle size though, so, and I don't know if I'm going to knit it myself or if my mom's going to knit it, because I also have plans to knit the new pattern. Oh, now I forgot the name again. I think, let me check. I really want to make the new pattern by Noriko Ichikawa. I'm the worst at pronouncing Japanese name. I'm terribly sorry if I'm butchering this, but she had this beautiful ribbed sweater that I think is called, let me check again. Yeah, it's the rib stitch sweater, and it's a very pretty kind of Yeah, it has an all over texture with like a broken rib structure, and I really, really like that one. I can't wait to start swatching, but the pattern is not out yet, so I kind of have to wait until early April. But yeah, I think I really want to make that one next as well, and then kind of transition into more summery projects for spring and summer. But for now, I'm still like in sweater mood, I guess. So far about my current knits and future plans. I have one more thing to show you that I want to make in the future, but that's gonna go into the last section because it's more of an acquisition. Until then, I guess I'm gonna show you some finished objects. For finished objects, I have 3 actually, and some of them are slightly larger, some of them are smaller, and if you've watched my recent March preview video, you might have seen some of these already, but these are the Linaria socks by Marie-Eve Wedge of In Her Skein, and these are just some super cute socks with this beautiful floral motif going down the side of the foot. I don't know if you can see. Oh yeah, here you can see better. It's just very unique, I think. And I was a test knitter for this pattern, and we made 2 versions. One like reversed. This is like they are the same colors, just reversed. And I really like that idea to showcase the pattern. This pattern launches on the March 28th in Marie-Eve's Ravelry shop, if I'm not mistaken. So this is the pattern, and I don't know when this episode goes up. Maybe it's live by then already. I'm not really 100% sure, but yeah, this is a very sweet pattern, and I can definitely recommend. It features this beautiful Estonian inlay technique, and I just really, really like it. It's super, super nice and very unique, especially the placement of the pattern, because it's not on the top of the foot, but rather on the side, which I find very unique and I just really like. So yeah, that is it about the Linaria socks. I really enjoyed knitting these. They are a bit of a challenge if you haven't done the Estonian inlay technique before, because it's a very new technique to me. It's like a reverse kind of color work, so you're kind of painting the pattern with the floats. I don't know if that's visible, but yeah, you're kind of painting with the floats technically. That's how I would best describe it, I guess. And yeah, it's very fun to make and a very unique look. And also the heel shaping is quite unique, and there are several options for different instep heights for this one. I went with a not so high instep. But yeah, very fun pattern, very lovely to make, easy to follow, very well written. Would recommend, I would say. So yeah, this is the more brownish version. And I used overstock for both versions, held single for the main fabric and then held double for the Estonian inlay. You can also use a fuzzy yarn to actually create more of a halo, which I think a lot of people really like to do. But yeah, for me, I think I like the rustic factor of, and kind of them looking a bit more, how do you say, 3D with the oversell double. So I really like that effect. So yeah, that's about it for my Linaria socks. I really recommend them. I hope to manage to update my Ravelry project as well in time for all of this to go live, but yeah, stay tuned for that. And then I'll put all my yarn amounts in there and all of that. So, but yeah, my next finished object is this one. And if you've seen the preview video of the March collection, you might have seen it already. But this is What You Want Is in Your Stash Box. I'm sorry, I'm gonna put the name somewhere. Because it's a weird it's not weird. It's an unusual pattern name, and it's so long that I can't really remember it well. But this is more of a recipe pattern. So you kind of cast on one side. Oops, sorry. You cast on one side, and then you increase. Then you knit flat until you reach half of your yarn amount, and then you can see you change directions, and then kind of decrease until the end of the pattern again. So this is, it's pretty nice. It's kind of like a zero waste concept, and I really want it because I currently have a lot of relatively big shawls and big cardigans, and I kind of needed a transition project, if that makes sense. So I got this made to wear also like under my collar coat and stuff like that, so it's not so voluminous but easy to wear, and I really, really like it. And yeah, the yarn used is actually a new one that's called Heirloom, and this is the fingering weight 4-ply version of it. It's 400 meters per 100 grams, and this has probably, by the time that this episode goes up, either launched already or is about to launch, so I guess it's appropriate to talk about it still. And this is its undyed state, so just the undyed grayish kind of color. And I really like that one. It's quite nice. And I can't wait to wear this like for the spring now, when it's still a little bit chilly in the mornings when I'm trying to go to the studio not freezing. This is going to be a perfect companion for that, and I just absolutely love it. So that is the new little shawl that's called What You Have Is, no, What You Want Is in Your Stash Box. So sorry. I'm gonna put it down below. The designer is Eri Shimizu, and I'm butchering her name probably, but yeah, this is the shawl, and I'm gonna put all the info down below. So you only need 1 skein of fingering weight yarn for this size of shawl, but I think technically you could use any, because it's more of a recipe kind of shawl. So here we go. Next up, in the finished object category, I want to be talking you through some more of my travels also, but first let me share the finished object with you. If you've been following this podcast and have watched the other episodes before, you might have seen this. This is my matcha jumper. It's finished. So I don't know if you can see that well. I'll try to hold it up like kind of okay-ish. But this is my matcha jumper. It is just so wonderful, and I absolutely love to wear it. It's a design by my friend Ines of Red Knit, and I hope to also include a couple of wearing clips of me where I wear this. But it's a very nice, it's a very special construction that has a bit of an S-curve. I don't know if you can see that, but it has a bit of an S-curve going down, like hugging your body pretty much. And believe me, this fits so well. Like, I've been wearing this quite a few times already, and I absolutely love how it wears. It also features these really long cuffs that I really like. You kind of need to block them quite aggressively in order to stick to the width of the sleeve, but I really like the effect this gives. It's a very elegant type of sleeve. And then it also features, let me put it this way, it also features a very long hem with the same half twisted rib pattern. So yeah, that's how it looks. You have different modification options, and I actually modified only the collar a little bit. It's not really a modification. There are different options you can do, and I think in Inesh's initial samples she always folded the collar, but I did not. I kept it single, so I kind of knitted the half twisted rib to about like a turtleneck kind of length, mock turtleneck maybe. Not really a turtleneck, but I made it this more of a longer collar. and it fits very, very well. It's so nice. I finished it up with an Italian bind off as the pattern recommends, and yeah, I couldn't be happier with how this turned out. Like, it's beautiful. I went with a slightly larger size than what I would have needed with my bust circumference, mainly also because I wanted to showcase how it would fit in a slightly more oversized look. So yeah, that's how it turned out, and why I also wanted to make it in a bit of a different look and showcase it on, you know, in a more oversized way is because I apparently met up with Ines to take a couple of pictures of our sweaters so you can see the different fits. That was at least the initial idea, but it even went further. So let me take you along on my little story time, travel, trip, whatever footage. Because I actually traveled to Munich to meet up with Ines and have a little photo shoot with our matcha jumpers together, which was so cool. One, because, you know, it's always lovely to meet with friends, but two, also because I really loved the fact that we both could showcase the pattern in completely different body types and also like types in general, because yeah, I thought it's maybe quite helpful that people can envision how the pattern would look on, you know, someone with darker hair, lighter hair, different skin tones, different body shapes and all these kind of things. And while we were limited to just the two of us, of course, I thought it could be quite nice to, you know, that you can see side by side how it fit us. And not only did I meet up with Ines in Munich, but we also went to a very special place and had a lovely day together at the Unearthed Gallery, which is a tea workshop place and ceramics place. Marcel, who is the owner of Unearthed Gallery, is an incredibly knowledgeable person, and from the moment we went in, it was such a warm atmosphere, and it was just wonderful. And since the whole like vibe of this pattern was inspired by matcha, and you know, I kind of had a roasted matcha, like hojicha version, we thought it would be nice to take some pictures of the sweaters at the tea gallery. And yeah, then we met up with Marcel, and he was so kind to actually share some of his knowledge with us, and also let us taste some tea and some matcha, of course, which was such a nice experience. And we pretty much spent all day together at the Unearthed Gallery because it was just incredibly inspiring, and the energy in the room was crazy creative. And what I also really liked about this session was that we kind of all share a passion, and even though we come from like different approaches, the passion for handmade products and kind of slowness during creation was what we really shared. And it was very inspiring to kind of join creative forces and, you know, showcase this pattern and the inspiration behind it at this very special place. Also, like, learning so much about tea was just an incredible experience, because I don't know a whole lot about tea. I'm more of a coffee person most of the time. My boyfriend and I, we have a bit of a shared passion of specialty coffee and such. But my tea knowledge was very limited, and so I was kind of like trying to get all of the information because it was so interesting. So not only is Marcel a super knowledgeable person and has a lot of things to tell, but the place is also incredibly inspiring. Like, what he made there and what he created there is such a beautiful space, and the atmosphere is just incredible. And, you know, going there with a friend and, you know, following her inspiration of her design and being at this magical place, it was just a super great experience. And if you have the chance to visit Marcel's place, if you're in Munich or you travel there, it's a must. Definitely check if he has workshops available when you're there, because he actually does workshops, and I kind of was like, I could spend some more hours here for more workshops and have more tea. It was just very, very inspiring. And he also has his own line of ceramics, and also curates some selections of international ceramicists that, you know, value the product as much, and the process in the same way that he does. And I think that is just a beautiful thing to do. And that's also where I felt very kind of connected, in a sense, that, you know, we all work with natural materials, and we kind of turn them into products, trying to cherish their wild nature as much as we could. And this kind of was very connecting, in a sense, and very inspiring. So I was very happy that I could do this. And I guess without further ado, let me share a couple of snippets from our visit at the gallery and our time together there. While I was in Munich, wearing my matcha jumper pretty much every day because the weather was miserable. Usually, Hamburg, where I come from, is the city in Germany that's known for its drizzly, gloomy weather. But when I traveled to Munich, I kind of took it with me, and it was super cold and gloomy all the time. So I could use my matcha jumper a lot while I was in Munich, which is also quite nice. So, and we visited a lot of places. And of course, you're not traveling somewhere with a friend and you're both knitters and you don't go to a yarn shop. So we also visited a yarn shop called Die Mercerie in Munich. And that is a very beautifully designed yarn shop. And while I don't usually try to purchase a whole lot of yarn while I'm away, because I mean, I make my own yarn and it does not always make sense, I found something that I would never really, or at least I'm not really planning to make, and so I kind of justified a little yarn purchase there. And also I felt very inspired because I haven't never heard from this brand before. So I purchased these. I don't know if you can see, let me put the logo in front. So this is from a brand from Korea, and it's called Jule by Nakyang Yarn. I've never heard of this before. It's so new to me yarn, definitely. I hope it's not too grubby from being squished into my suitcase. But I bought these two, I bought two of each of these colors because this is 100% paper yarn. And I found this quite interesting because most of the paper yarns I knew, they are more of this raffia type. And these are more, I don't know if you can see, but these are more like rounded, if it makes sense. It's more like a proper, like we knitters know, like yarn. And I think this is so interesting. It was showcased in different bag patterns while we were there at the yarn shop, and I was really inspired because I've been wanting to make little baskets for our bathroom for the longest time, because I use like reusable cotton pads, how do you call it? I don't know, pieces of cotton that I use to remove my makeup or like wash my face, and I store them in a little hanging piece that my mom once crocheted for me, but I kind of think I want to have more of these, and I thought this is the perfect yarn for it. So yeah, I bought some yarn for once. So this is the Jule by Nakyang Yarn. I'm also going to link it down below because I'm not entirely sure if I pronounced this correctly. It can be hand washed though, 30 degrees. And it's supposed to be used with either 3.5 to 4.5 millimeter knitting needles or a 3 millimeter hook. So yeah, that's what I'm probably going to be using. A crochet hook, I mean. Let's see what I can do. If you have any pattern recommendations or something like that about how to make little baskets or like storage thingies with these, please post it down below. I'm very curious because I will be going on a hunt for those kind of patterns soonish. And I hope that these colors will also go quite well together for my bathroom. Okay, I guess this is it for the episode. This might be a little bit of a slightly shorter episode, mainly because I don't have a ton of works in progress at the moment. But I'm so thankful for everyone who left a pattern suggestion on my latest episode about travel projects, because that's what I'm going to need soon. I'm going to be traveling to the UK for a little bit over 2 weeks in April, visiting most of my mills, which it's going to be so exciting. I don't know. I don't even know how to say and how to stay calm while I'm saying this, but it's going to be very cool. And yeah, therefore I'm thinking about having some different travel projects with me. One of them being very much for like on the go, while we are exploring, you know, a new place and or traveling somewhere, and then one, you know, for evenings at the hotel where I can wind down. So yeah, I'm thinking about having at least 2 projects with me, but I'm not entirely sure yet. So yeah, still thankful for any kind of recommendations. And yeah, I guess without rambling even more about my travels and all of these things, let me know if you want to be taken along through my UK tour, or if that's like something super boring. Let me know if you're interested in that. And I guess that is it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. I guess that is it for today's episode. Until we see each other again, happy knitting and have a wonderful beginning of spring. Bye.